Okay, some stuff from the past. Put this. Is that better? Or is that going to be too dark? All right, stuff from the past. Take a pair of angles. They add up to 180. They form a straight line. Straight line angle is 180 degrees. Some of the triangles inside the triangle must also add up to 180 degrees. So far, so good. And then, as always, a right angle, 90 degrees, indicated by that box. Box right here. Anytime you see it, you can safely assume that's a 90-degree angle. Now, one angle is 90 degrees. The other two have to add up to 90 as well. Next page. Next page, top. Okay. I need you to take out both packets, please, from last class. You want to work on the study guide for now. So, again, you have a 90-degree right angle as one of your three angles in your triangle. The other two angles must also add up to 90 degrees. We're going to be dealing with this rule one way, shape, or form again. Then, vertical angles are congruent, measured, and then also in your triangle. The two angles that do not touch the third angle, you add those two angles up. It's going to be the same value as the angle that's outside, exterior to your triangle. All right. Oops. Okay, so next page, we need to figure out these angles, or triangles rather, depending on the angle of each triangle, what type of triangle do we have? So if you look at our four triangles on the bottom, set up with this triangle all the way to the left.
Right angle.
Why?
Because it has a square.
Very good. Square represents how many degrees?
90.
That's exactly right. 90 degrees. It's an automatic right triangle, or right angle, right triangle. All right, what about the one in the next one, I should say. Oh, what do we notice about that next triangle?
It's the last one.
Why is it the last one?
I don't know. It just says equal and all the sides are 60. So.
All the angles are 60. Okay, that's a very good point. Adrian said all three angles are 60 degrees. Since they're all angled, yeah, it's equiangular. The word, you see something very close to the word equal. So, there you go. Automatic, very good. Okay, what about that triangle right here? 38, 104, and 104. Which one will it be? So you're down to either acute or obtuse. Why? What's that? They equal. Well, yeah, they're going to equal 180. These guys are also going to equal 180. But what else will this triangle be an obtuse? That's the reason. And then by process of elimination, All three of these angles are less than 90. But yeah, this guy is over 90 degrees. That's why that one's going to be obtuse. And then this one, all less than 90. All angles are less than 90 degrees. So that's a less than, I should say. So that's why that's going to be a acute triangle. All right, questions? All right. Okay. Next one. And this goes back to the beginning of Unit 4. Of a scalene isosceles equilateral. You could tell us how we're going to match up these triangles.
The first one's the last one.
Why?
Is it the same reason? That's all.
Okay. In this case, we're dealing with the sides. So, yeah. So you got one down. What about the middle triangle? The 13, the 9, and the 14. It's either going to be isosceles or scalene. You can tell us. Why scalene?
No, that's not too equal.
Perfect. All the sides are different, and then by black, then that one has to be isosceles, the last guy, because two sides are equal. Isosceles. Okay, questions? And again, that's the way isosceles, they're going to mark with those slash marks which sides are congruent. Okay, questions before we go? All right. Clear the ink. All right. I want you all to try these next ones. Try them real quick on your own. Now, I'm going to just mark which ones you would use for sides, which ones you would use for angles. Well, I'll actually show you the ones for angles. And then, of course, so real quick, give you all a minute to fill out this table. Given what we just discussed. All right. Okay. All right. Study guide and also the packet from last class. Tell you what's going to happen. Okay. So take them both out. All right. Who could tell us? So for number one, side lengths. I have a 7, an 8, and an 8. Well, it's a side. Which one out of the 3 possible side classifications who could tell us? I have a 7 and a pair of 8s. Is it an equilateral, isosceles, or a scalene triangle? Who thinks they know? You get hit, got a pair of 8s. If I have a pair of sides that are the same, it must be isosceles. Very good. Thank you, Fernando. All right, next one. All 3 are different. So if all 3 are different, that means we have what type of triangle? Scalene. Thank you, Joy. And last but not least, all 3 are the same. They have to be, which one? Equilateral. Thank you, Noe. Okay, what about the angle measures? The first one, I have a 65, a 90, and a 25. Which one would it be? Is it obtuse, equiangular, or right triangle? Very good. That's a right triangle. Oh.
So he has to finish that today?
No. He can finish it as long as he gets it done before break. So he doesn't have to finish the notes today. So but do get them done. Those are all great. 2 other things are grades. Okay, so we have a right triangle. Is that at a 90 degree? So I think, Andrew, you said that, right? You're correct. What about the next one? Of a 60, a 100, and a 20. That must be. So which one, obtuse or equiangular? Obtuse, yeah, it has to be. 100 degrees, that's an automatic obtuse. And then last one has to be. They're all 60-degree angles. That must mean it is equiangular. Yep, you have no choice. All right. Questions? All right. We're good here? Go on. Now, remember again, this this is going to be recording. It will be posted in Schoology. But still take notes. Oopsie. All right, so did we all get this chart? Final call. Okay. Hurry up. About. Okay, thank you. Okay, next one. Missing angle measure. Remember, some of your three angles must add up to how many degrees? 180. All right, give you all a moment as I update attendance. I want you all to try to find those angle measures. So, again, some must add up to 180. All right, missing angle measure. Some of the angles in your triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. All right, first one. Did anybody get a value for the first one? Andrew's saying 71. Agree or disagree with the 71?
Yeah.
Eric's agreeing. Anybody else agree, disagree? Okay, that one is 71. Next will be 71. Remember, 38, 71 add up to 109. And then it's 180 minus 109. And then, there you go, you get 71. All right, what about the other one? You got a 55 in a box. Last one's going to be 35. How'd you do it? Okay, so do we add 55 plus box? Ah, plus 90. That's what we need. 90 and 55. That's 45. And 180 minus 145. This is the final result of 35. Good job. Questions on those two? So X 71, 35. Good job, everybody. Questions? Now, the next one. What's going to happen with the next one is what you're going to need to do, I'm going to give you two angles. You need to determine the angle that's outside. One of two ways you can do it. What's up? That's the quickest way. That's the quickest way to do it. So, if we add the two inside, what's 70 and 50 going to give us? 120. Is that all we need to do for this problem? Yeah, that is all you need to do. X is going to be 120. Now, the reason why that one's going to be 120, what must this angle be? It's going to be 60. The one inside is going to be 60. Because remember, the sum of the three have to add up to 180. We agree to that, right? That adds up to 60, so that adds up to 180. So this guy has to be 60. And also, don't forget, the sum of these two angles, the 60 and the 120 must also add up to how many degrees? What must the 60 plus 120 add up to be? Add them up. What do you get? 60 plus 120. You get 180. Well, does anybody remember what the 60 and the 120 represent? There's two possible options. The X represents 120. I'm talking about the entire, you have your 60 and 120. What are they called? One of two possible answers. First word could begin with an L, or the only word could begin with an S. Two possible answers we have. They are what do they form? Form a line segment, so that means they are a blank pair. Linear pair, that's a linear pair right there. That's a linear pair. And the linear pair is always supplementive. So that stuff going back from quarter number 1. Yeah, that's a linear pair. And these are going to be tricks. Always going to need to know. Okay, what about down here? Anybody get an answer for the other X? 139. Good. 92 is 47. Adds up to 139. So 139 degrees. So even though we don't know this other angle, can we get that final angle? Because again, what must the sum of these two angles have to add up to be? 180. So since we have 139 over here, one inside has to be 41. All right, questions? Anybody have any questions? So, 139, 120, those are the X values. All right. Okay, next set of problems is going to deal with the combination of both linear pair, some of the three angles is 180, and also vertical angles. So these are going to be rules we're going to need to know going forward. Well, the first one we kind of already did. Because this triangle, you already have the outside angle, 120. And these two have to add up to 180. Because that's a linear pair. So if the X plus the 120 is 180, what must the value of X equal? So what number plus 120 gives us 180? Huh? 60, yeah. Andrew's right, that's a 60. All right, I want you all to try to find the other one real quick. Find the Y value. Again, all your algebra rules are going to be coming into play. The good news is, well, we have one of those. We have the 70. We also have a 60. 60 was X. 70 plus 60 plus Y. 180. want you all to find that y value real quick. Okay, next page. Next page. And if you get that y value, then I want you to try to find your x and y over here. And I gave you some hints. So, give that a minute. One person. What did you get, Fernando? How much? He said 50.
I got 50.
Eric also got 50. Anybody else? Okay, that's a winner right there. That's 50. And that should say degrees. So yeah, y is going to be 50 degrees. Because 50 plus 60 plus 70 gives us a total of how many degrees? 180. That's what we need. All right. This next one. I got two angles we're trying to find, an x and a y. Now, do you always have to find the variables in alphabetical order? No.
Oh,
This is a perfect example of why we don't have to always do that. Because if we look at this first diagram, it's easier to find y than x. Do we agree? We're not sure what x is, but we definitely know what y is. So what must the y value be?
It's a lot.
So who can tell us? So you have it. So what would be the y value then? So remember, 80 and y are vertical angles. So what do we know about vertical angles? They're congruent. That's right. Means they have to have the same measure. So 80 and y are vertical angles. So then y must be how many degrees? They're congruent. So if the vertical angles are congruent, and this first angle is 80, that means y must also be 80. All right, now we have an 80 and a 50. Can we get the x value? Can we figure out x? What is it? You can tell us. I have a 50. It's an x plus an 80. Equals 180. So you can tell us what the x value will be. It's going to be 50. Plus x plus 80 equals 180. Again, old rules from earlier, either in the quarter or the school year, are being used. I'm going to be dealing with these rules again, often throughout now and the rest of the year. Okay. Questions, okay? Now, next one. Questions before we go on? All right. All right, so next, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Drawing figures. The key is the order of the letters. I cannot stress it enough. On that next slide. Now, with sides, think of tick marks or slash marks. And the reason why I might say slash marks is because slash and side both begin with the letter what? S, good. And then with angles and arcs, they both begin with the letter. What's the first letter in both angle and arc? What was the letter that I underlined in both cases? What letter?
Angle and arc.
They both begin with the letter.
A.
Thank you, Dennis. Now, also, what you can do in your triangle congruence, if you're given the triangle congruence, you can write the first congruence either above or below the second one, so that when you do your matching up with sides or angles, you know exactly what sides are from the first triangle will match with the sides of the second triangle. And similarly, you'll know from the first and second triangle which angles match up with each other. So that's the important thing about the triangle congruence statement. And also that's going to help us when we determine which triangles are congruent to each other and by what method. Like angle, side angle, side. And that might be something we might talk about Friday as well. Or today, like we'll talk about it a little bit today, and then we're gonna wrap that up on Friday because triangle congruences, that's super important to know. Again, sides, slashes, and then because here we see it perfectly, AB 1 slash, BC, EF 2, and then 3 for the other. And with the arcs, real quick, A and D have a single arc. B and E, double. Oops. B and E have double arc. And then C and F, triple. Now in this case, they're side by side. However, will your triangles always be side by side? Like, basically, they did a copy, paste, and change the letters. Is that always going to be the case? With your two triangles, am I going to just copy and paste the other one? Be careful. I'll tell you why. If you look at the next example, so on the next page, when we go to the next page, you see right away, with that first triangle, did I just simply copy and paste and we got the second triangle? Or did the second triangle get flipped around, turned around? What happened? Well, we clearly, right away, we're not going to always figure it out. Okay, AC, does that match up with EF? Got to be careful. That's not always going to happen. So again, you got to go look at not only, just make sure, take your triangle congruency statement from the, take the first part, put it above or below the second. Then you could also tell who's going to match with what. So, like A, B, D, E, they have the 1/ mark. B, C, E, F, yeah, they have 2. And then 3. Then on the bottom, of course, A and D. How many arcs does A and D have? They have 2 arcs. B and E only have 1. And then C and F have the 3. So this time I went by alphabetical order, but it's not always going to go A, B, C order. Or it's not always going to be A, C, oh, matches up with E, F because they're facing the same direction. Not always the case. You have to look at tick marks and arcs. Arcs and slash marks. That's going to tell you how who matches with what. Okay, questions? Anybody have any questions with these triangle congruencies? All right. Okay. Next one's going to be a little bit different because there aren't going to be any markings on your next triangles. Oops. You're not going to see any markings on this triangle. Again, take your congruent statement, write one either above or below the other, because that's going to help us determine which sides and angles match with each other. So anytime you get a triangle congruency statement, do that right away. Write the first one either above or below the second. Or vice versa. Put the second one either above or below the first. Because once you do that, that's going to help you match them up. So for this one, UV, which side is UV going to match with over here? Give you a hint. Look at your triangle congruence. Look where the letters U and B are located. Say again? That's going to match up with AB. That's right. Okay, which side's going to match up with BC? Tell us.
B and T.
T matches. Okay, what about UT?
CD.
Careful.
CA.
CA or AC, yeah. Careful with that one. Good. Okay, what about our angles? What angle will match up with angle U?
A.
Then what about B? Who's matching with B? B, and then C has to match up with? Good. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, go. Okay, questions? There's going to be times you're not going to get any markings. You might get a marking here and a marking there. But then you're going to have to look at your triangle congruence. to determine who's matching with what. Alright. Next two problems are going to be same idea. Triangle congruence is going to help us match our triangles. Again, this one was a little messy. But we'll go through it together. But again, the key, take your statement. Write one of them above or below the other. Now this is going to help us match up with everything. We'll match up everything now. So EF, we're going to tell us what side in the triangle on the right is going to be congruent to EF. Oops. So EF is going to be congruent to which side? And look at your triangle congruence. Which two letters are right above E and F? Okay. Therefore, now, if QP is 30 millimeters, then how many millimeters will EF have to be? If they're congruent, if QP is 30, then how long is EF? You said how much? Yeah, it's also going to be 30. Because those sides are congruent. And anytime your sides are congruent, you have to have equal measures. Do you agree? It's always, always, always. Okay, what about PO? Which side's going to match up with PO? Careful. Okay, PO's gonna be 50. But what side?
GF.
GF. Yeah, they're both gonna be 50. Good. So yeah, the 50, that's why I couldn't say you were incorrect, because you were technically right. And then by process of elimination, the QO and the EG, they're going to match up. So what must this length be over here? What's the last number we don't see here, but we see there? 46. So 46 millimeters for that last one. Good. Okay, questions? And then can we get the angle measures for our three angles? Well, we can, because we know the sides are going to match up. The angles will also match up. We agree? So, angle Q. Who wants to take a guess as to what the measurement of angle Q will be?
E.
Okay, Q's going to match up with E. You're right. How many degrees was angle E?
80.
So then angle Q must be?
80.
Yes. That's 80. Okay, what about angle F?
P.
Okay, what's P?
64.
So then F has to be?
64.
Bullseye. Good. Hey, he's right. He's telling us what?
36.
Yeah, it has to be. Good. G and O match up. There we go. There's that.
Easy.
Yeah, it is. Especially once you get that triangle congruence. That's right, it's a piece of cake. Knock it out. Good job.
Is this what the test is gonna be on?
Some of it's gonna be on this.
How many questions is it, like 30?
I don't know yet. I don't. Yeah, I'm still finalizing it. Remember, but when you do take your test next Tuesday, you're gonna have the entire period. So basically, we come in. Here you go, test. Talk about some of the questions, and you have it the whole period. All right, questions. Yep, that's how you match. Triangle congruence is gonna match up everything. Again, whatever anybody missed while they were out, make it up. Okay, do we have this? Last call. Got me done, and then we're moving on to the next part. We'll at least get through the next 7. All right, next 7 I want to get through. Minimum. Oops. All right. So now, is it filled out? You gotta fill it out first. And I'll sign. All right. Same thing here. Your last angle or the corresponding parts. Again, write your triangle congruence above or below the other one. Now we know exactly who's gonna match up with what. I want you all real quick. I want you all to look at this one on your own for a moment. Now, the last one, think about which angles are going to pair up with what other angles. Measurements you're going to get almost from the diagram, but the last one you're going to have to do some math. I want you all to look at this one for about a minute or two. So, top row, we can definitely get. There should be no ifs, ands, or buts about getting that top row. How are we gonna? What letters are gonna be filled in?
A.
Okay. What else?
B.
Then.
F.
So far, so good. That's gonna help us then get these next ones. Now the first 2 should be almost a direct match. So DNA matchup. Well, how many degrees was angle D?
42.
Then angle A must be? It's gotta be 42 as well. Okay, B and E matchup. So B and E matchup, how many degrees is angle B? I mean, angle E.
83.
Yep. Whoever said it was right. The last one, you're going to have to do a little math. Did anybody get that last one?
55.
Shall we say 55? You agree, Tarancito? Anybody else agree or disagree with the 55? Okay, again, why is it 55? What do we have to do with those other 2 angles?
I don't know.
What do you get?
Yeah.
Well, you can use your calculator. That's why we have them.
125.
125. Both cases. And then to get that last one here, we're here. What do you have to do with the 125?
subtracted
From what?
180.
It's gonna be 180 minus 125. And that's gonna give us 55. Very good. Good job. Great job, team. All right, questions? Okay, now next little bit's gonna be different. We're gonna start talking about those triangle congruencies for a little bit. And then I think after that, we're gonna continue that next class. So, without further ado, you're gonna match. Now, I know there was that one homework activity. Some of us were confused because we saw the triangles without the letters. Even without the letters, you can still, remember, slash mark, that's the side. Angle, mark it with an A. And then remember some of your rules as well. Because there's going to be some of those diagrams where the lines cross. Vertical angles are congruent. Or you had that bisector. Bisector is like a mirror. And also it's a shared side, so if you split it up, you'll know. And we're going to be dealing with more of those activities. We're going to be dealing with some more of those types of problems after we finish the review. All right. So let's look at these triangles real quick. Top left. What's marked? What's given to us? To tell us what's given to us here. That's an angle. That's the side. That's an angle. Yeah. Same thing over here. You got an angle, side, angle. So that first one's going to be ASA. Two angles are marked. The side in the middle. What about the one directly below in the red box? What one will that be?
Side.
Yeah, all three of them are sides. So that's a side, side, side. Well done. So Dennis good on the second one, Andrew good on that first one. Okay, what about the one on the top? We could take a guess as what the one on the
Side.
It's the side angle side, exactly, Dennis. Side. Angle in the middle, side. Same thing over here. Side, angle in the middle, side. And then the last one has to be, that's right, no, it has to be angle, side. You have your angle, then the side. So the two angles appear first, then you have your side. So that's an angle, side. Now, you could also say side, angle. I would have accepted that one too, for angle, side, or side, angle. All right, questions? Again, watch your order, because AAS is going to be different than ASA. Big difference. The side in ASA is between your two angles. Does everybody see that big difference? Between this guy and this guy. The AAS is the two angles, but then the side that's not between the two angles. Unlike the other one where the side is between the two angles. Does everybody see that big difference between the two? Okay, that's going to be important going forward. All right. Next one. Now I'm going to talk about some of these triangle congruencies. Now again, Order's gonna matter. Because right away, you're gonna pair up your sides. So for instance, look at your slash marks. AB has 2 slash marks, right? What other triangle has 2 slash marks? I mean, what other side? In the second, which one? ZY, but how many?
C1.
Okay, C, that's a different one. C and Y are separated. Let me delineate. So that's the difference. YX. In this case, we'll say XY. You were right. I mean, if you just said YX, I'd be okay. But I'm going to go XY, and you'll know why. All right. YZ. So we're going from Y to Z. How many slash marks does Y and Z have? 1. Which side of the other triangle has 1 slash mark? BC. Now here's what's going to happen. Since B and Y matched up, Z and C are going to have to match up as well. Then of course, then that's how you're going to fill in your triangle congruence. So there may be a problem where you may have to fill a couple problems where you're going to have to fill in the triangle congruence. Sort of like on that homework that we had where I gave you 2 triangles. You're going to have to match up your triangle congruences. That's what we sort of have going on here. Is you went from A to B, 2, and then B to C, you had 1. Got to do the same thing. We went from X to Y, 2, Y to Z, 1. So we sort of went in this direction. So whatever direction you go from one, have to go the same direction for the other. That's where so we started here, went there. Oh, let me put that in. Let's see for that last one. Some of you wrote ZX, CA, I'd be okay with that. All right, questions? Again, order will matter, especially that triangle congruence. You got to get that order right. So, order of the first one will help you determine the order of the second one. All right. Okay, moving on. Questions before we continue? I want to get to at least a couple more. All right, 20, 21, 22, 20. All right, 4 more. We can do this. All right, side angle side. So side angle side, those would be slash mark, angle, slash marks. That's going to help us set up our triangle congruence. Now, again, understand which sides are congruent to each other. So for starters, YZ. Let's start with this side right here, Y to Z. And especially notice the direction we're going. We're going from Y to Z. What must be our starting point for our other triangle? Ask yourself, which side has 1 slash mark?
B and C.
B and C. And the other thing I liked is the order was correct as well, because we went from B to C, like from Y to Z, you went from this point here to the angle that was indicated.
Z is C, right?
And then angle Z and angle C are gonna match up.
H, AC.
And then AC is gonna match. Say again?
Z and X.
Z and X. Or X and Z, yep. ZX, is it A to C? XZ. I mean, you could have said ZX as well. So CA. Now, be careful with the triangle congruence. Well, right away, the first two letters, YZ. We have Y and Z for the first two. What two letters must be first when we set up our triangle congruence? BC, that's right, you did that from here. This part right here, the reason why the letters B and C are going to go first. Then, what's the last letter? You have no other choice. What letter has to go here?
A.
Has to be the A, because A was the last letter. And the A and the X, they're going to match up. So see how we did that triangle congruence? We identified how they were congruent, and then we also identified, okay, Y and Z match up, so then right away I gotta say B and C, because remember, Z and C have to be in the same position. Given Z and C were congruent, you gotta put those guys in the same exact position. Z was in the middle, C's in the middle. And then of course, the last spot was A. X was the last spot. A had to be the last spot as well, because that was the last destination. Okay, questions? All right, let me get through the next. Let's see, I want to get through the next couple real quick. All right, next 3 slides, real quick. Let me do this. All right, this one. Angle, side, angle. Well, this one's going to be easy because we know who's going to match up with who right away.
E.
P and E are going to match up. That's right. Very good.
ED.
Yep. Perfect.
D. EDO.
ED. ED what?
It's EDC, I meant.
That's fine. But that was 100% correct there, Dennis. Well done. Make that a little darker. Okay, reason why. P and E match up because they have how many arcs?
2.
2 arcs. 1 arc. Very good. All right, and then right away, and the next thing with the arcs, you know who's going to match up with who. P, that was first, E has to be first. R was second, D has to be second. And then process of elimination, Q and C. They're going to be the last spot. So that was great work there. You knocked that out in like 30 seconds. So it's angle E, ED, angle D, and then EDC for that triangle. All right. Next one. We'll at least get through the next 2. All right, this one, you know what, I'll talk about this with everybody. This one was a little different. But with angle, side, B and Z. Everybody see they have 2 arcs. We agree to that, yeah? A and Y. We see they both have 1 arc. We agree to that, yeah? And then AC is going to match up with YX. The reason why we're going to put it in that order, you started at the angle A, the arc. You went to no arc. Y Went up to X. Now, the last thing, we're going to probably talk more about this next time. But when we talk about these last slides real quick, these were the type of problems that you saw on that one homework assignment. The backside. Hold on. We're not done yet. We'll talk about this one a little more, but when you set up your triangle, the first side, you can go in any order, any combination, any order. But then the second one, you have to follow what you did on the first side. You have to follow it. We'll talk about this one a little more next time. Because I know we're running out of time, but again, first triangle, any combination. That's what I wrote, any combo. But the second one, you have to follow the order, given what you did with the first one. So we'll talk about this one a little more next time.